Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, senators from the Committee of Homeland Security, Justice, and Public Safety considered a number of bills Monday. But those lawmakers spent some of that time discussing one item that was not on the agenda. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
Lawmakers set out to tackle the issue of gun control in the territory Monday. On the agenda, a bill to require psychological testing and background checks for people applying for gun licenses, and an assurance that those firearms would have secure storage facilities. But before that bill reached the table, Senate Committee Chair Kenneth Gittens questioned Police Commissioner Rodney Carrard about a new policy for licensed gun owners.
My office has been fielding a lot of calls with regards to your new regulations as to changing from a person being able to carry for personal protection to now merely just home protection.
Carrard told senators there aren't any new changes to the law. He's just enforcing what's been on the books.
We have people come in and applying for firearm license for the purpose of carry for personal protection for no justification. If there's a justification for carrying a firearm, meaning that you're a business owner, you're a law enforcement officer, you have threats made against you that are clearly lagged in reports, all of these things are taken into consideration.
Lawmakers argued that licensed gun owners are not the problem and should therefore not be penalized.
To punish existing applicants because of past bad practices, I don't think is fair.
Law enforcement officials were also reminded that the executive and legislative branches have the final say over any changes made to policy. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Now, the firearms bill was tabled. Meanwhile, during Monday morning, senators voted to forward a bill to the Rules Committee that would amend the law to include chemical changes to controlled substances to the list of controlled substances. Well, copper thieves strike again. Innovative has experienced another outage due to copper wire theft to the company's outside plant telecommunications facilities on St. Croix. In the span of 4 weeks, Innovative Telephone has suffered 2 incidents of copper wire theft, with areas like Grove Place, Upper Love, and Carambola being affected. Last night, 4 spans of 300 pair cable were stolen, leaving over 200 subscribers in the Salt River, Marina, and Gentle Winds condos areas out of telecommunication and also internet service. Innovative's outside plant technical team are on site and will continue to work diligently until service is restored. Call police if you have any information. Major crime detectives on St. Croix said a third suspect they have been searching for in connection with the February 2nd shooting death of 21-year-old Wellington Pennyfeather Jr. has been captured by Florida police and returned to St. Croix about 1:30 p.m. on May 30th. The suspect, Angel Luis Elraza, also known as Green Eyes, Luisito Elraza, and Angel Amelstica, was escorted from Florida by 2 VIPD major crime detectives and landed at the Henry Wilson Airport on Friday. He will face charges of first-degree murder and unauthorized possession of a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school zone, among other charges. 2 other suspects were previously arrested in connection with Pennyfeather's murder. Major crime detectives on St. Thomas continue to investigate a first-degree robbery in which the victim fatally shot the suspect. Police said the 2 men walked into the First Stop gas station and convenience store, brandished handguns, attacked and threatened 2 male victims. Both victims were able to use their personal licensed firearms and fire shots at the suspects. One suspect was fatally shot, and the second suspect fled the area. Police were notified of the incident about 1:45 a.m. on May 30th. The victims, who are employees of the store, told police each of them struggled with an armed suspect, and both victims fired shots. This case is being investigated by the Criminal Investigation Detectives. Again, if you have any information, please call police. A report released by the Attorney General on discrepancies in the 2012 elections is getting some harsh reactions, not from the VI election system that was reprimanded in the report, but by those who think a scolding is not enough. News2's April Knight has more.
We expect action, not a scolding. not a slap on the wrist.
Almost 2 years after the 2012 general elections, the Attorney General's office released a report which basically stated that yes, thousands of votes were missing and there were indeed errors in tallying and certification of some ballots. But it's not enough to be considered criminal.
Definitely criminal. I mean, what else? What else do you need?
Current Elections Board member Wilma Marsh-Monsanto and other unsuccessful candidates in the 2012 elections are unsatisfied with this assessment, accusing the VI election system and the Attorney General of covering up what she calls a botched and incompetent 2012 elections.
Missing over 700 paper ballots, altered, forged, erasures on tally sheets, and other election records. Unacceptable. That is criminal.
You could call that white-collar crime against the people of the Virgin Islands.
Monsanto and her group are calling the AG's report an impotent investigation that fails to acknowledge a crime was indeed committed. Now they're calling for the AG to resign and for charges to be filed against all parties they consider responsible for the fiasco.
The board members who participated in the lessening of those numbers, manipulating the results, and also anybody who helped in that.
The people of the Virgin Islands cannot accept this type of report from the AG. He needs to resign.
With the 2014 election season in full swing, all eyes are on the possible effects the AG's report might have on the elections process, especially on voting and tallying.
There's a 2014 election coming. These individuals are still sitting there. Are they going to do the same thing?
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
News 2 is trying to reach Attorney General Vincent Fraser for comment on the reactions to his office's report. Count on 2 to keep you updated. As we reported on Friday, a historic ceremony was held to formally transfer control of the Virgin Islands Housing Authority from federal government to the government of the Virgin Islands. VIHA has been in federal receivership since 2003. Governor John DeYoung was joined by officials of both the U.S. Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and the VI Housing Authority. He also gave an update on some of the other projects.
The leadership of the Assistant Secretary, Ms. Wise, Mr. Graham, we now have home ownership at Williams Delight. It's a program. The other was our young people in the Youth Build program. And they committed the short funds that they have towards that Youth Build program, which had over 350 units that were rectified and rehabilitated. During the recovery program, the stimulus program, over 144 units came back online with $9 million that was spent. And then the last one is to have a senior citizens development center on St. Thomas, which is the project that will start this year in July and again to the Housing Authority.
Meanwhile, the VI Housing Authority, as well as supporting organizations, teamed up with residents of the Oswald Harris Court Housing Community on Saturday to tidy up their streets. For most of the day, volunteers could be seen picking up trash, raking dead leaves, and cutting grass all around the housing project. According to Housing Authority, the effort is not just for cleaning up, for strengthening that sense of pride and community among residents of Oswald Harris Court as well. Kudos to the organizers and the volunteers of the community cleanup. We'll turn our attention overseas. Doctor says Sergeant Bo Berdal's medical condition is stable, but that he still requires hospitalization. And with the sergeant now safe, some in Congress are questioning the decision to give up 5 Taliban prisoners for Bergdahl's freedom. Craig Boswell has the latest from Washington.
Doctors at Landstuhl Medical Center in Germany are attending to Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. After 5 years of captivity, they are paying special attention to his diet and nutrition. The hospital isn't saying how long Bergdahl's recovery will take, but the 5 Taliban prisoners traded for his release are now in Qatar.
Chances are that they're going to reconnect with the network and at a minimum serve as political pawns in the Taliban's agenda.
That's one reason lawmakers are questioning the decision to go ahead with the exchange. It's a concern the White House says is overblown.
These 5 detainees do not and will not pose a significant threat to the United States, and it was in the national security interest of the United States to secure Sergeant Bergdahl's release.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham released this letter calling for immediate hearings on the release of the Taliban fighters from Guantanamo Bay. Senator Graham wrote, I fear President Obama's decision will inevitably lead to more Americans being kidnapped and held hostage throughout the world.
That's why so many of us are so concerned about what really is a break with U.S. policy of not negotiating with terrorists.
Members of Congress also say the president should have given them 30 days notice before the prisoner release, as the law requires. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Keeping our eye on the economy, Friday the government will reveal the May employment numbers. April's report was better than expected, and the unemployment rate fell to 6.3%. Obama is expected to use his executive authority to take historic steps to fight climate change. The Environmental Protection Agency announced a rule to reduce carbon pollution from the nation's power plants by 30% by 2030. Critics say that could cut thousands of jobs. The proposal is expected to face legal challenges. Here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow up 26, NASDAQ down 5, S&P up 1. Coming up on News 2, commencement ceremonies continue. 5 students graduated from the ICRA Academy and 14 from St. Joseph's High School. Highlights from both events. After calls by Senator Alicia Hansing for the termination of Gladys Abraham principal Lisa Hassel-Ford, senatorial candidate Gene Ford is making it clear that his wife had nothing to do with the taking of a photo of a young student that spread across social media. The student was holding a sign saying, "I am a liar and a thief." According to Gene Ford, the child's punishment happened in the privacy of the principal's office and was never meant to be used as a means of humiliation, and that his wife had nothing to do with its circulation. Count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, as we reported Friday, the Youth Development Group, a collection of community and government agencies that deal with children and youth in the territory, held a town hall meeting and basically concluded that they need to improve interagency collaboration to perform more effectively. YDG organizer Scott Bradley said Friday's meeting is just the beginning of a more concerted effort among these different organizations.
So gathering them all together is to unite and help align each other and support each other and to create a more effective way of dealing with our youth issues. Individually, we can only do so much, but together we can be so much stronger. You know, a lot of these are grassroots operations. They're very small. They don't have the resources that a government agency might have, but they could, in fact, benefit from the services and grow stronger through collaboration and group effort.
14 students from St. Joseph's High School are now college-bound. On Sunday, the Catholic High School's class of 2014 graduated and were awarded their high school diplomas. Kadisha Charles earned the highest honor as the valedictorian of the class, while Melanique Francis was honored as the school's salutatorian. During the ceremony, there were words of inspiration shared by many, including the school's administration and clergy, including Bishop Herbert Bavard. The 14 graduates for 2014 are all college-bound. Meanwhile, 5 students from the ICRA Academy strutted confidently across the stage to receive their high school diplomas on Sunday. Huda Kutam emerged as the school's salutatorian, while Amir Donai was named as ICRA's valedictorian for 2014. The students honored their loved ones with flowers for the support they received over the years. Sunday's graduates were the school's 5th graduating class. All 5 had plans to attend college.
Many graduations as I'm able to attend, I'm going to try, especially the high school graduations. I was a guest speaker here at ICRA last year, and so I felt a special kinship with the school, and I wanted to be here for the graduation today for the 5 students who are graduating. But you know, it's a great time of year as we celebrate the accomplishments of our students and wish them well as they move on.
Congratulations to all the graduates. Well, prices are up slightly, 3 cents at the pumps. Hovensa adjusted its rack rates, which is the price of fuel purchased wholesale at the Hovensa truck loading station on St. Croix. Independent gas station owners in the territory now are paying $3.48 per gallon for regular, $3.72 per gallon for premium, and $3.45 per gallon for diesel fuel when they buy their fuel wholesale from Hovensa. Those prices include the 14 cents per gallon tax that Hovensa collects for the government. Many are asking, is there a future for Hovenza in the Virgin Islands? Senator Terrence Positive Nelson and Senator Kenneth Gittins teamed up to hold a town meeting to listen to all viewpoints regarding the Hovenza issue. The meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 4th at number 89 Strawberry Hill near Paris's Teas and Novelties. That's from 5:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. The senators will express their views on the history, future of Hovenza, as well as provide an update on what they see is happening now. June 1st marked the beginning of hurricane season. The season runs until November 30th. Federal forecasters are predicting a slower than usual season, but they warn that it takes only one storm to wreak havoc. The NOAA says there's a 70% chance that the Atlantic will see 8 to 13 named storms, 3 of 6 which will build into hurricanes, including 3 major hurricanes. Well, be sure to stick around. News2 Accurate with the forecast is coming up next.